Carson's an enigma. He wrote a book, and he's doing great in Iowa. He's second in the polls. With all these professional politicians, I'm first, Carson's second. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Because he wrote a book, and in the book he said terrible things about himself. He said that he's pathological and that he's got basically pathological disease. Now, he wrote this, I guess, before he was running for office, or thought that he was running for office. And I don't want a person that's got pathological disease. I don't want it. Now, I'm not saying he's got it. He said it. This isn't something that I'm saying, oh, he's a pathological liar, or he's got I'm not saying it. He said he's got pathological disease. He actually said pathological temper, and then he defined it as disease. So he said he has pathological disease. Now, if you're pathological, there's no cure for that, folks. Okay? There's no cure for that. And I did one of the shows today. And I don't want to say what I said, but I'll tell you anyway. I said that if you're a child molester, a sick puppy, you're a child molester, there's no cure for that. There's only one cure. We don't want to talk about that cure. That's the ultimate cure. No, there's two. There's death and the other thing. But if you're a child molester, there's no cure. They can't stop you. Pathological, there's no cure. Now, he said he was pathological. Okay. He said he went after his mother with a hammer. He wanted to hit her on the head. Or he hit her on the head, or he wanted to hit her on the head. And I said, wow, that's tough. Man, did anybody in this audience ever go after your mother to hit her on the head with a hammer? Okay? So he went after his mother. This is in his book. This isn't me. I'm just trying to save you the cost of a book. So he's a pathological, damaged, temper, a problem. Then they talk about my tone is a little bit tough. Give me a break. Bush, I don't like his tone. We have people, their heads are being cut off in Syria if they're Christian, and for a lot of other reasons. And he doesn't like my tone. That's the problem with this country. We need somebody with tone. We need somebody with tone. You can go back to the other guys later, but let's straighten it out, okay? We'll go back to the guys with the nice, easy tone like Bush and like Rubio and like these characters. But you need somebody with tone. Hillary said the same thing. I didn't like the way Mr. Trump spoke last night. His tone wasn't nice. Let's not worry about it, folks. Let me straighten it out. Then I'll promise I'll leave you alone, and you can go back and blow it all for the next 20 years, and you'll get somebody else like me up there, and they'll straighten it out again. But go back to Carson. So he went after his mother. Think of this. He went after his mother with a hammer at a fairly young age, 14, 15 years old. I didn't. Okay. He hits a friend of his in the face with a padlock, like a master's padlock. Wah! In the face with a padlock. A lot of damage. Okay. I never did that. I mean, I misbehaved. I spoke during class. They said, don't you dare talk. Yes, sir. Yes. But no padlocks in the face to friends. Then here's the beauty of all. He took a knife, and he went after a friend, and he lunged that knife into the stomach of his friends, but lo and behold, it hit the belt. It hit the belt, and the knife broke. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. The knife broke. Let me tell you, I'm pretty good at this stuff. So, I have a belt. Somebody hits me with a belt. It's going in because the belt moves this way. It moves this way. It Moves that way. He healed the belt buckle. Anybody have a knife? You want to try it on me? Believe me, it ain't gonna work. You're gonna be successful. But he took the knife, he went like this, and he plunged it into the belt. And amazingly, the belt stayed totally flat. And the knife broke. How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country to believe this crap? So here's the good news. He's now saying all of that stuff happened because otherwise he's a liar. And I said, no, wait a minute. It should be the other way. It didn't happen. The press made it up. Those guys, they made it up. No, 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 no. It happened. How dare the press not believe me that I went after my mother with a hammer, that I hit somebody in the face with a padlock, that I tried to stab a friend of mine whose name was Bob, but now it's changed. Whose name was Bob. He was a friend, but now he's a member of my family. Who I have a brother. Don't speak to him. I don't want you to talk to my brother. So he's trying to convince everybody that these things happened. Again, I'm a religious person. I'm going to protect people. I'm going to bring back people. Because say what you want about Christianity. As a group, we haven't done a good job in protecting our religion. We really haven't. We've let government take it away. We've let government take it away. Pastor Jeffers, who's a real nice guy. You know Pastor Jeffers. He's on television the other night, and they're asking him about Trump. He says, yes, he's a Christian, and he's a good guy. He's not your typical Christian. But, you know, sometimes we sort of do a little sacrifice because he's an unbelievable leader, and he's really smart, and he's going to protect us. And maybe that's better than having a perfect Christian that doesn't have leadership ability, which is, you know, going to happen, that doesn't have certain other qualities. Because we need somebody that's going to be a leader and protect us now. I'm going to protect everybody because I know how to do it. And I'm a worker. I know how to do it. I really know how to do it. So here's the thing. So Carson, oh, the knife broke. There it is. It's laying in the, oh, good. So what he's saying is that these series of events, and he goes into the bathroom for a couple of hours, and he comes out, and now he's religious. And the people of Iowa believe him. Give me a break. Give me a break. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. And some people might not like it. Oh, that's not really nice what you say. Don't be fools. Don't be fools. Okay? Now they're saying it wasn't him. Now, I don't know, maybe this was a false report, but it wasn't him that hit with a hammer. It was his mother came at him all of a sudden. Don't forget, the name changes. Everything changed. And I don't care. I may leave here and you may say, oh, that was not nice what he said. Who cares? Then, you know, I go back to my life. I don't have to do interviews, which I don't like doing, to be honest with you. I can leave this scum back here at the press alone. I don't need them anymore. They're garbage. No, they're scum. I don't have to deal with them anymore. But here's the guy who's saying, think of it. You got to think of it. How crazy it is. He's demanding that it's right that he went after the mother and wanted to hit her over the head with a hammer. And these other events and the knife. Because if he didn't, he won't have credibility. And I said, well, wait a minute. I put out a tweet the other day. At Real Donald Trump. Very hot. Millions of people. But I put out a tweet. I said, if I were him, I'd rather have it the other way. Where he didn't go after. Right? Where he didn't. So, I say, what the hell have we come to? What have we come to? When we have to believe this kind of stuff, and we're going to put somebody in office who considers himself to have pathological disease. Read the definition in the dictionary of pathological disease. And I'm not saying it. He said it about himself before he knew he was going to run for office. And then he's controlled by a super PAC in Iowa. And the head guy at the super PAC, I hear, left. And nobody writes about it. I mean, the truth is, he's complaining about the press not treating him well. Okay? Let me tell you something. If I did the stuff that he said he did, I wouldn't be here right now. It would have been over. It would have been over. Okay? It would have been totally over. So that's who is in second place. And I don't get it. I don't get it. On top of which, he's never had an employee. I put thousands of jobs, many thousands, tens of thousands of jobs over my career. Tens of thousands. Thousands of people working. I know jobs. I say, I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I will.
Well, I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. And as far as, and I have to say this, he hit my hands. Nobody has ever hit my hands. I've never heard of this one. Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it. All right. Okay. Moving on.
Okay, Senator Cruz. You say that you are the true.
On Monday, George W. Bush will campaign in South Carolina for his brother. As you said tonight, and you've often said, the Iraq War and your opposition to it was a sign of your good judgment. In 2008, in an interview with Wolf Blitzer talking about President George W. Bush's conduct of the war, you said you were surprised that Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi didn't try to impeach him. You said, quote, which personally I think would have been a wonderful thing, close quote. When you were asked what you meant by that, you said, for the war. For the war. He lied. He got us into the war with lies. Do you still believe President Bush should have been impeached?
First of all, I have to say, as a businessman, I get along with everybody. I have business all over the world. I know so many of the people in the audience. And by the way, I'm a self-funder. I have my wife and I have my son. That's all I have. I don't have this. So let me just tell you, I get along with everybody, which is my obligation to my company, to myself, etc. Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake, all right? Now, you can take it any way you want, and it took Jeb Bush, if you remember at the beginning of his announcement, when he announced for president, it took him 5 days. He went back. It was a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It took him 5 days before his people told him what to say, and he ultimately said it was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
I think it's my turn, isn't it?
You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
Okay. All right. Governor, when a member on the stage's brother gets attacked,
I got
brother
about
gets
5
to
or
respond.
6. Do I get to do it 5 or 6 times or just once responding to that? So here's the deal. I'm sick and tired of Barack Obama blaming my brother for all of the problems that he's had. And frankly, I could care less about the insults that Donald Trump gives to me. It's blood sport for him. He enjoys it, and I'm glad he's happy about it. But I am sick and tired of him going after my family. My dad is the greatest man alive in my mind. And while Donald Trump was building a reality TV show, my brother was building a security apparatus to keep us safe, and I'm proud of what he did. And he's had the gall to go after my mother.
The World Trade Center came down during your brother's reign.
Remember
that.
Hold on.
Let me finish this. He's had the gall to go after my mother.
That's not keeping us
I won
safe.
the lottery when I was born 63 years ago and looked up and I saw my mom. My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should
this
be
is
running.
not about my family or his family.
Okay.
This is about the South Carolina families that need someone to be a commander-in-chief that can lead.
Governor.
I'm that person.
I think you can look back in hindsight and say a couple things, but he kept us safe. And not only did he keep us safe, but no matter what you want to say about weapons of mass destruction, Saddam Hussein was in violation of UN resolutions, an open violation, and the world wouldn't do anything about it. And George W. Bush enforced what the international community refused to do. And again, he kept us safe, and I am forever grateful to what he did for this country.
How did he keep us safe when the World Trade Center came down? The World, excuse me, I lost hundreds of friends. The World Trade Center came down during the reign of George Bush. He kept us safe. That's not safe. That is not safe, Mark.
All right.
That is not safe.
The World Trade Center came down because Bill Clinton didn't kill Osama bin Laden when he had the chance to kill him.
And George Bush had the, by the way, George Bush had the chance also, and he didn't listen to the advice of his CIA.
All right, Dr. Carson, we have a...
Can I just...
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
Your Twitter account has several disparaging comments about women's looks. You once told a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice it would be a pretty picture to see her on her knees. Does that sound to you like the temperament of a man we should elect as president? And how will you answer the charge from Hillary Clinton, who is likely to be the Democratic nominee, that you are part of the war on women?
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. This country is in big trouble. We don't win anymore. We lose to China. We lose to Mexico, both in trade and at the border. We lose to everybody. And frankly, what I say, and oftentimes it's fun, it's kidding, we have a good time, what I say is what I say. And honestly, Megyn, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
Talk about Megyn Kelly, because you brought her up. She did push you, pushed a lot of people, but what is it with you and Megyn Kelly?
Well, I just don't respect her as a journalist. I have no respect for her. I don't think she's very good. I think she's highly overrated. But when I came out there, you know, what am I doing? I'm not getting paid for this. I go out there, and you know, they start saying, "Lift up your arm if you're going to." And you know, I didn't know there'd be 24 million people. I figured, but I knew it was going to be a big crowd because I get big crowds. I get ratings. They call me the ratings machine. So I have, you know, she gets out and she starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions. And, you know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. But she was, in my opinion, she was off base. And by the way, not in my opinion, in the opinion of hundreds of thousands of people on Twitter, because it has been a brutal day. In one way, a great day for Fox, and another day in the Twitter sphere, it's been very bad because she's been very badly criticized.
Let's take a look.
She's a lightweight. I couldn't care less about her. In fact, you're competing against her, and I'm doing your show. That's interesting.
Hugh, go ahead.
Mr. Trump.
Are you going to
ask
ask anybody else a question?
No, this goes to me.
Every single question comes to me?
Mr. Trump,
I know I'm good for the ratings, but it's a little bit ridiculous.
No, but Mr. Trump, a year ago, you told me on my radio show, the audio and the transcript are out there on YouTube, that you would release your tax returns. True. Are you going back on your
No, I'm not.
commitment?
First of all, very few people listen to your radio show. That's the good news. Let me just tell you. Which happens to be true. Check out the ratings. Look, let me just tell you something. I want to release my tax returns, but I can't release it while I'm under an audit. We're under a routine audit. I've had it for years. I get audited. And obviously, if I'm being audited, I'm not going to release a return.
Senator Cruz, you suggested Mr. Trump, quote, embodies New York values. Could you explain what you mean by that?
You know, I think most people know exactly what New York values are.
I am from New York.
Well, you're from New York, so you might not. But I promise you, in the state of South Carolina, they do. And listen, there are many, many wonderful, wonderful working men and women in the state of New York. But everyone understands that the values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage, focused around money and the media. And I would note, indeed, the reason I said that is I was asked, my friend Donald has taken to at his events playing Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. And I was asked what I thought of that, and I said, well, if he wanted to play a song, maybe he could play New York, New York. And you know, the concept of New York values is not that complicated to figure out. Not too many years ago, Donald did a long interview with Tim Russert. And in that interview, he explained his views on a whole host of issues that were very, very different from the views he's describing now. And his explanation, he said, look, I'm from New York. That's what we believe in New York. Those aren't Iowa values, but this is what we believe in New York. And so that was his explanation. And I guess I can frame it another way. Not a lot of conservatives come out of Manhattan. I'm just saying.
Are you sure about that?
Maria? So, conservatives actually do come out of Manhattan, including William F. Buckley and others, just so you understand. And just so, if I could, because he insulted a lot of people, I've had more calls on that statement that Ted made. New York is a great place. It's got great people. It's got loving people, wonderful people. When the World Trade Center came down, I saw something that no place on earth could have handled more beautifully, more humanely than New York. You had two 110-story buildings come crashing down. I saw them come down. Thousands of people killed. And the cleanup started the next day, and it was the most horrific cleanup probably in the history of doing this and in construction. I was down there, and I've never seen anything like it. And the people in New York fought and fought and fought, and we saw more death and even the smell of death. Nobody understood it, and it was with us for months, the smell, the air. And we rebuilt downtown Manhattan, and everybody in the world watched, and everybody in the world loved New York and loved New Yorkers. And I have to tell you, that was a very insulting statement that Ted made.